Hello. So today I want to share some of the things that I do that help me to stay calm during busy days or to just be there more for others, to be more regulated. And I'll share some of the things that I do for that. So I need to have certain basic things done and also certain basic groceries in my home to kind of hit a baseline where I feel comfortable enough for when things get a bit busy or chaotic outside. And I'm fine with eating very simply for a couple of days, but I have noticed that there are some things that are difficult to be without. And especially on those days when you don't have much time to go and do groceries. But I mean, if I'm out of coffee, I will do anything. I will even apply magic to create time to get some coffee somewhere. And usually this means running late somewhere and stressing out about it. So it's just better to have a baseline of things that I always have in my home so that I don't unnecessarily stress myself out. And I have a list of things that I have to keep, and I don't mind that I have a little stockpile of these items either. In fact, it makes me a bit calmer to have a bit more of these items. And this also helps, by the way, for when I'm a bit overwhelmed and chaotic, and when at those times I constantly forget to get the things that I need to buy the most in the grocery stores. So I'll go back and forth for that. And so if I have these things already in my home, a stockpile, I can rest instead and calm down instead of worrying about them and running in circles. So for the groceries, I need coffee, milk, hand soap, toilet paper, some soap for doing the dishes, salt, something of protein, whether lentils, eggs. Today I bought cheese, but could be anything, or tuna in can, and I started eating fish again lately for the proteins to feel a bit better. As someone who has been a vegetarian for a very long time, that once in a while, every couple years or so, I need to go back to eat some fish again, because sometimes I feel like I don't get enough good quality proteins. So for now I'm eating fish again. And I need some vegetables like frozen broccoli or something in cans or jars. And just some starch like rice or potatoes. And if I have these items, I can survive even the busiest days fine. And I also need something to cook with like olive oil or butter. And then I also have some canned tomatoes or coconut milk just to cook with and give the meal some flavor. And usually I have some herbs and I barely ever run out of them, so they're never on my priority list because I always have something to season the meals to give it a bit more flavor. And I can just use whatever I have. And here I kind of put it in order of priorities, what I need to have the most. So this is a real priority number 1, and I really need these things to survive. And this is the second priority, like I can survive without it, but I feel much better when I do have these things. And this is the third priority, like it is really good to have it, but I'm fine if I only have the first 2 priority stockpiles. And fresh vegetables are my least concern on busy days. Today I did buy them because I have time to prepare them, but usually on busy days I just use the frozen ones or in jars or cans so that I don't have any preparation to do or having to cut them, wash them and so forth. I do always have some carrots and some lettuce for my rabbit Laurier. And when I'm busy, I just buy these pre-sliced and washed carrots so that I can give it to him straight from the bag. And I think that I was once without garbage bags on a busy days because somehow they made it on my priority list as well. And I probably had to put the garbage somewhere on my sink and it was very unpleasant. So even though they seem so unimportant, like why would they be on a priority list? When you're without it and you cannot do groceries, you know how important they actually are. So I think that's why they made it on the list of priorities. So these are the food items that I definitely need to have, or like the basic grocery things. And if I have these things, I don't have to do groceries for a couple of days if I don't have time for that, and I can just survive fine. And maybe I do miss certain food that I enjoy, but I will not have to force myself for those things to go to the store and make a busy, stressful day even more stressful. And Laurier knows that there is always a snack for him in the grocery bag. So he's smart, of course, he knows it. And obviously, he gets his carrots. So this particular morning, this little guy, he first of all made a mess, obviously. He chewed through his litter box, filling bag. In the 1 hour that I was away for my Pilates class. And after that, he escaped through my small garden balcony when I came back to drink my coffee, and I had to chase him. Luckily, he got home by himself. And I have already fed him very generously, but of course he was very, very hungry still. And so we had to take our much needed banana break while we were filming this video. It just couldn't wait. And I know that 5 minutes later he will try to trick me again into giving him another snack. But I will stay strong for a couple of hours at least. And the second important thing is if I can make my green smoothie. I feel so much better if I can do that. But this is somewhere in between my priority and the luxury. If I really have no time, I just skip it, but I do really miss it then. That's also when I notice that I'm actually being too busy or going over my limit when I don't have time to make my smoothie. So that's a good sign for me too. And my go-to meals for when I have no time for cooking are very simple. For the most busiest days, or I think sometimes people also call it days that they have no spoons left over to take care of household chores and cooking and those kind of things. So the simplest thing that I do is just some rice crackers with some lettuce, some tuna salad, and if I can, some boiled eggs. Otherwise, without them, it's also fine. And I don't have it on this video, but I also really like to make spaghetti from lentils with some cottage cheese and arugula, or just rice or potatoes with some canned vegetables. Nothing complicated, just very simple, minimal cooking, minimal preparing time. And that is on the days that cooking isn't a priority or there's just too little time for that. And so for the things to do, the most important thing for when things get stressed or busy is to have a baseline of previously radically taking care of myself, and so that I can go without care for myself for a couple of days. And I mean this very literal, like I never quite knew what people meant when they used the phrase you have to take care of yourself before others, or just take care of yourself, because I thought it always sounded so abstract, like what do you mean concretely, like it's so vague. I had no idea. But lately I've just started doing it naturally again, and I just take it very straightforward, very practical. So I personally feel the best when I feel a bit put together. So not too sloppy, not too self-aware of my clothes, my appearances, and so forth. That there is something underneath bothering me, that I don't feel completely comfortable. And this is a realization that I just had lately again, because I remember that back in the day, quite a while ago, actually I think before I started having pets, that I really enjoyed taking care of myself. So lately I started to do that more again, and to really make it the highest priority in my day. So not like what can I do to be productive first, or what needs to be done, but what can I do that I feel my best today, and after that I see if there's room left to do anything else. So this is what I mean with radically taking care of myself. And I really needed this because I've kind of neglected myself for a while. So I also have started doing sports several times a week, and I will share a bit more about that next time. But the things that like practically I do now on a daily basis is just to have my eyebrow trims, to have a good moisturizer on my face, and I also started using some nail polish again and just started to take better care of my nails again, something I haven't really done for the last couple of years. So these are all small touches, but it does make me feel better on a daily basis. And I found a nail polish with 85% natural ingredients, and it's not ideal, but the pro of how much better I feel for now does outweigh the 15% of bad ingredients for me right now. So the last couple of years, I feel like I was caught up a bit too much in black and white thinking as well, in a bit of either or, only bad or only good. But I think that in reality, it's very rare that something is ever going to be on one of the extreme sides of the spectrum. So I think it will always be somewhere in the middle, maybe pointing a bit more towards one side or another. And this can also fluctuate and change over time. And I also highly doubt that you can really do it all good in this life, only using the best things or best ingredients. So I try to be less tough on myself with those kind of things. And also it's fine to change sometimes, to sometimes be a bit more on the extreme side and other times less. Life is all about changing and going through the ebbs and flows. Things don't have to stay the same forever, and so we can fluctuate a bit more to one side of the pendulum or the other. But for now, I just feel a bit better when I take care of myself, like very directly. And when I feel better, I can socialize easier, I can be more cheerful, and every day things just go a bit smoother, and I can just do sports or just do things spontaneously because I've already done things previously to this. And then also when days are busy or chaotic, I can go a couple of days without taking care of myself or without feeling too tired because I've already put in the work previously to those days. And I can do more sports, and sport at the long run and also even at the short term makes me feel better, and I can socialize more. So that's why I put more emphasis on myself right now. And also, like, just practically and before anything else, actually I've just put it on my priority list every day, to take care of myself, because it doesn't really go natural for me. And also because I was too tired for the last couple of years to really think about myself, or too caught up in taking care of emergencies and so forth. And I was just under a lot of pressure with the pets, and especially when they were sick and needing care, or the aftermath, the emotional aftermath and heaviness of the loss and so forth. And this constantly continuing, never really ending. And so taking care of myself was not a priority anymore. And I kind of noticed it in how I felt about myself too. And also I was a bit too afraid of some bad ingredients, and which actually is valid. Ingredients do matter, like nothing is black or white. But finding a nail polish that is not perfect but good enough for me does make me feel good on a daily basis. So now when I do my nail polish, I'm so glad that I can do something nice for myself that I enjoy at this moment. And some practical things: that my home needs to be clean and calm, and I don't mind how chaotic it is outside as long as I can feel rested in my own home. And of course there are some days that this is not possible, especially with the pet rabbit and all the hay, but I do also try to prioritize cleaning my home every day, just because it makes such a difference in how I feel and also how calm that I feel. And some other practical things are just making sure that I always have clean clothes, clean towels, socks, underwear, and that my laundry is just done before I'm running out of things, so that I don't have to get into this chaotic mode of being too late already and having to do things. So I try to stay on top of it as much as possible. And I find it especially important to take care of my teeth, I used to use baking soda for brushing my teeth, but when I was not feeling well, I made it easier for myself and I bought this toothpaste that is more natural and I can handle this one very good. Like I don't get this awful sensation that I get from most toothpastes. And in fact, I like it so much that I prefer this toothpaste over anything else right now. And I also need to have some floss and some extra toothbrushes just in case. So I always have a stockpile of them because it's one of those things that's annoying to have to go after. And I also have this lip oil because I have very dry lips and I use this on a daily basis. And I do use this plastic tongue scraper. I have tried some zero waste ones, but I really prefer the plastic materials, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I just find metal very uncomfortable on my tongue. So for now I use these ones. But I find these products very important and I feel very incomplete and really not ready for the day if I'm missing something from this. So that is why I make sure that I also always have a stockpile and that even on busy days I do these routines so that I feel put together and that I don't have to go to the mall to buy them because if I'm already running late. And some other things that I need to have are things in case I get sick. I live alone, so there is no one that can go and get something for me. So I always have these products, some kind of syrup for a sore throat or for coughing, and some painkillers. And this is a tea with painkillers in it, and it has a strong lemon flavor. And I always long for this tea when I'm sick and it always does make me feel a bit better. So I have it in my home because I have had some times that I didn't have it and it made it so much worse. And also have some band-aids, of course. Also a sleeping supplement. And if I have to do a lot of things in the day, I try to do the administration, the boring kind of things in the morning just to get it done with. And I try to keep my inbox and paper administration in check to avoid those last minute stressors. And so that when the days are busy, I can just focus on getting through them and not worrying about many other things. And of course, sometimes this doesn't work out. And honestly, this really has become difficult because I don't know if it's just me. But I feel like especially the last couple of years, the demands of the outside world have doubled or something. Or at least their annoying urgency, the feeling of it all. That feeling that there is always something that needs to be done. Always some sort of to-do email, whether from the government, municipality, taxes, dentists, doctors, electricity, just companies and their passwords or registrations or anything, you name it. And I'm still working on my lifelong plan or wish to just end it all for once and for good, but it's like a snake with multiple heads. The moment you cut one of it, it just doubles. So I'm trying to figure this out, how to get life in a sort of hermit mode, some kind of way to be left alone, at least to get these outside demands lessened. So still working on that, trying to figure it out, and we'll let you know if I find some tips on that. But so far, the thing that works the best for me is just doing most of the things in the morning with a nice cup of coffee, or just having one live admin day once in a while where you just do everything at once and just have this day planned to just go through all the emails and papers and whatever needs to be done and just do it at once. This also helps, but I will share a bit more of this next time. And just some other basic things that I need are my lint roller, some tape and scissors, something to write with, pen and ink, because you just never knows what happens. And these are the things that I sometimes need to send something back, a package or something like that. And I just need my tape and scissors. And I also always have a small stockpile of batteries because it can cause so much stress when you need them and you don't have them at the moment. And I also always have extra lights for my bicycle because it's the same thing. You need to be somewhere and the lights are broken, and it causes so much unnecessary stress when you don't have anything extra. So that's why I always have these things extra. So I noticed that when I have these things in order and in place, and when my home is clean, that I can handle busy days or longer days better, that I can stay calm. Or when an emergency occurs or something spontaneous occurs, that I can stay calm a bit better. So these were the things that I need in my home or that I need to have done, and how I just try to stay calmer on a daily basis. And let me know what yours are, if it's similar or if it's something very different. I'm very curious to hear that. And thanks so much for watching. See you next time.